expected.
Mix of fashion, finance, and life's essential foundations. Join us for expert interviews, insightful discussions, and empowering insights to elevate your lifestyle. From fashion trends to financial tips and personal growth strategies, we've got you covered. So grab your headphones and get ready to be inspired. Tune in now to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show and embark on this exciting journey with us.
Hello, everyone. I'm M. Teresa Lawrence, the President and Executive Director of the Trueness Project, and I want to share with you my upcoming events. We have the Grand Butterfly Gathering happening on Saturday, June 28th in Jackson, Wyoming, and virtually worldwide. And I'm inviting you all to participate because it is a joyous community building event where we're all going to go for a world record of the largest gathering of people dressed as butterflies in history. My nonprofit, the Trueness Project, is all about storytelling, and what better story is there in this universe than the transformational story of the butterfly? That beautiful being literally dissolves in the cocoon and turns into something spectacular with wings. And I believe that's our personal story. And today, I want to share with you that I have somebody that believes as I do and is truly aligned with the vision of the Trueness Project. She is all about authenticity and self-reflection and being her true authentic self. Our guest today is Hillary Arno Burns, and I'm just going to read a short bio and introduce you to her fabulous self. Hillary Arno Burns grew up in Westport, Connecticut. She graduated from the Wharton Business School at the University of Pennsylvania in 1981. She spent over 30 years as a business consultant to companies all over the world. Her best accomplishment is having raised her two remarkable children. Yes, that's beautiful. Hillary has published 3 books, is the host of the Getting Real with Hillary show on E360 TV, has a YouTube channel and TikTok following, and a website, gettingrealwithhillary.com. Her vision is that we all elevate the conversation and consciousness of the world together. Isn't that beautiful? It matches perfectly with the mission of the Trueness Project. And with that, welcome, Hillary Burns.
Hello, thank you, Teresa. It's so great to see you.
We always have so much fun together. I just have to share with the audience. Last year, when I was doing the butterfly event, Hillary was gracious enough to have me on her podcast. And I wasn't used to doing these. And the next thing I know, she's got like butterfly things everywhere.
I did.
She
By
was
the
like a
end, I had them
walking,
all over.
she was like a walking billboard for the event. So I have to thank her for that.
Yes.
And with that, Hillary, could you please share with the audience, your background? How did this all begin? Where, you started at Wharton. Wharton is a kick-ass competitive school. It's incredibly difficult to get into that school. And that mindset is not a touchy-feely, let's get real with Hillary. I just don't see that for the background. It's just like, what happened here?
So, well, yeah. So I was actually at the University of Pennsylvania. I didn't like writing papers, and so I transferred into the business school. One of the best moves I ever made for the wrong reasons, but maybe they were the right reasons. So anyway, so I graduated from there and I went down to Washington, D.C., and I did some consulting. One of the best times was working in Germany for the U.S. Army in Heidelberg. We were working on a resource management system, so that was really fun. And then I transferred back up to New York to be closer to home, ended up working on Wall Street. And I had a great time, really a great time. Then
So
I got married.
I have to interrupt because my first job was at 26 Broadway. It was near Wall Street.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, everybody knows the Wall Street Bull, right? That was the building in front of us. So what was your favorite part about that part of your life, working on Wall Street? I mean, was it the bars? Was it
It was like high school with,
Chinatown? What was
yeah, it
it?
was like high school with money. I mean, I was working at
I've
Drexel
never heard
Burnham.
that.
No, we had so much fun. I mean, I had been, at an accounting firm before that in Washington, and then I transferred up to New York. It was one of the big eight back then, and it was not high school with money. It was good. I loved Germany, but it was pretty. I mean, the people were older. They just weren't my friends. When I got down to Drexel Burnham, I got recruited away by an ex Wharton and Arthur Young guy. So, he recruited me, and I went down there the week that Ivan Boesky got arrested was when I went. So I got there for the beginning of the end. But it was still, I was there for 3.5 years until Drexel went bankrupt. And, everyone was young. We were making money. We would go out every night, and it was just a blast. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. There were five of us. We called ourselves the Fabulous Babes, and we were,
Oh, so all women, fabulous babes?
yeah, five. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And we just had so much fun. We just did.
Okay, so from there, the company
I'm
goes
I'm now
bankrupt.
gone. I'm back
Yeah,
in
you're like,
yes,
it's
okay,
like you
come
could
back.
tell you enjoyed that part of your life immensely.
Yeah, we had fun. So then when Drexel went bankrupt, I ended up working at a law firm. That was where I got a job. I was making more money than my friend, so it took me a little while. It was frightening. It was probably the first time that I was never jobless, but I felt like I was homeless. Like I literally was that terrified. So when I got my job, I stayed there, even though I never liked it for 5 years, ended up getting married, and then moving to Connecticut where I grew up and having two kids. So at that point, sometimes you're fun and you're fearless, right? I was fun and fearless, and after that, I'll tell you, I w- I got a little cautious. I got a little bit about safety. You know what I mean?
So,
Like
so,
things
so
change.
when you say you got scared and you felt homeless, so the company goes out of business. And for everybody that's listening, it was a time where Drexel went down and like everybody was scared, like who's gonna drop next? And s- and so your mindset went from, hey, I'm thriving, this is fun, the five babes, whatever,
Yeah.
to how am I going to support myself? And you end up at this law firm and you took a job because you needed the job. I imagine that you may not do that. Like if something like that happened now, that wouldn't happen. You'd figure out something that you'd love to do.
Right. Well, yeah, and they promised me one thing, and when I got there, you know, it was different. And I was like, hey, you said I was going here. Well, too bad. So it was kind of like I was sold a bill of goods. I didn't think I was taking a job I wouldn't like, but I stayed there for 5 years, even though I was never really happy. I mean, I made the best of it. Found some transformational programs, and I made the best of it. But I was not the carefree person that I had been before that.
And did you take time off when you had your kids?
Yeah, so I left when I got married. I moved to back to Westport, believe it or not. We had this beautiful rental on the water, and I worked until, let's see, we got married in August 28th, and I worked until mid-January when I started my own coaching business. So I left. I left there. That was my plan. I worked with a coach, and I said, this is when I'll leave, and I did, and I had a successful coaching business for a month, and then And then they, and then the people, I was good. So after 3 months, they would leave. And I was like, now what? So it never really, and then I was pregnant, and it was harder to get, when I was working, I was trying to get clients. So it was like a full-time thing. But once I went through my whole Rolodex, and at that time it was early 90s. People here in Connecticut hadn't really heard of coaching. In New York, it was a bunch of people who that was normal because we were doing the same programs. But when I got here, it was a little bit difficult. So I ended up letting that go once I got pregnant.
So what I enjoyed hearing from what you just said is that you coached your clients, they did well, and then they moved on. And that's the whole point of coaching, because there are coaching programs that you just stay on forever, you
Right.
know? And sometimes that's great, if you're still growing, but other times you're just holding on to the past, so you're just limiting yourself. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I was so good that I got myself out of a job, but and I know I am good. I just didn't really like the marketing type part because I
Mhm.
knew that it was never going to get big because of the nature of it. Do you know what I mean? you work so hard to get a client and then in 3 months they're done and you're like, oh, now what?
Mhm.
Right? So,
Well, it's all a learning curve on how we do
yeah,
that. And
yes.
so you had your children, and then what happened? Because you say that was your greatest gift to the world, your children. I'm sure you enjoyed that phase. And then what happened?
Well, what happened? What happened was I had gained some weight, let's just say, and I thought my only problem was the weight gain. So I just knew that if I got thin, I would be happy again, you know? And so when I started losing weight and I realized, oh, like I'm feeling some things that I haven't felt for a long time, like sadness or anger or what frustration. And I realized I had been numbing myself. And when I couldn't say, and then I realized, I had this very
So you were
thin friend.
numbing yourself with food?
Food, yeah, like I'd be good all week, and then come Friday night, it'd be like, all right, let's go out for margaritas and nachos, or burgers and beer, or whatever. And I was good during the week because I always had hope, but by Friday it was like still the same. It wasn't even conscious. All I knew was I wanted to have something, that wasn't weight loss oriented. Do you know what I mean? So I would, and I didn't see it until later that I was numbing. Do you know what I mean? I thought the weight was the problem, and once I fixed it, that was it. But when I got thin, I was like, wow, I am not happy here. And it
Isn't
wasn't,
that always the case? Like you can't see what is wrong unless you move to a higher level. So that's where you were. This is
yeah,
no, I want the audience to know that, there are so many women that just go through the motions of life and they never reflect on what they're
mm,
feeling or what's going on with them. And with that moment, before we move on with Hillary, it's time for a commercial break. So
all
when we
right.
come
Well,
back, we're going to figure out what happens next because it's awesome.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Waite and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Waite is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewaite.com or call her at 951 378 5316. 951 378 5316.
I'm Glenn Morshower. My face may look familiar to you from lots and lots of TV and film over the last 50 years. We're doing speaker training together and we're excited about helping you. We've got a lot of fundamentals that we will cover, including the art of playfulness, knowing who you are, remembering tonality, posture, all of these things that are life-changing. They are significant not only in your professional world, but in your personal life as well. We look forward to working with you in the near future.
In Karate Legacy and the Power Within, we don't just teach karate techniques, we share the inspiring stories of incredible martial artists. Latino Gonzalez, the father of karate, paved the way for martial arts in the Philippines. His legacy lives on through his sons, Rolando and Roberto Gonzalez, who starred in over 100 Philippine karate movies, captivating audiences and bringing karate to the silver screen. Then we have Patricia Gonzalez, a symbol of strength and resilience. After overcoming her own battles, Patricia's journey embodies the spirit of perseverance. Her story encourages us to face our challenges head-on and emerge victorious. Each character in this book has a unique journey, friends and students who have dedicated their lives to mastering the art of karate. Their shared passion not only deepens their bond, but also strengthens their resolve to uplift one another. Through these compelling stories, Karate Legacy and the Power Within reveals the essence of karate: courage, unity, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Join us in celebrating these extraordinary individuals and discover the strength that lies within you. Grab your copy of Karate Legacy and the Power Within, available now on Amazon.
Welcome back to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. I am your host, M. Teresa Lawrence, and we are here with our guest, Hillary Burns. And when we left off, she was about to continue her journey from Wharton graduate, working on Wall Street, and now she's home with the kids and she's gained some weight and she's trying to figure out what is happening in her life. So this is a moment of self-reflection and then we move on. So welcome back, Hillary. And I'm going to give you the full screen. You go for it.
All right. So, well, I was always typing on my computer. I had always wanted to write a book, but somehow they always turned into journals. So while I was going through this, I had been recording some of my feelings and realized that, you know what, I did not like my life. And that's what I had been numbing. And there were issues, there were financial issues. You know, it wasn't just my weight. It wasn't my weight at all. That was a symptom. And so there was financial issues. There was, can I say the S word? There was sexual issues that my husband was not interested in sex, and we really didn't have a relationship. So it wasn't an easy fix. It really wasn't. But what I did was I started writing this book when I got sort of I started writing it in the middle of this. And then when I got to the other side, I ended the book and I had a deadline. I actually had a deadline. There was a goal. I was going to finish it on December 31st, and I did. Now,
I have to interrupt. Can you share with everybody the name of the book?
Yeah, well, it took 7 years for it to get published, but here it is, The Sacred Piece of French Toast. And, you know, I wrote it. I thought I would publish it. And then, you know, someone said, you know, you should meet Jessica. Well, Jessica gave writing courses. I was like, oh, I don't need that. Like, I thought the book was done. Anyway, it took me 7 years. I took writing courses for a few years. I rewrote every chapter. I would read them aloud. But the people were very encouraging. And they said, you know what? There's probably other women who feel this way. And you need to tell this. Don't stop. So I didn't stop. It took me 7 years. I didn't know what I was doing. I published it myself. You could tell by the cover, I never redid it. But, you know, I was very proud that I kept going. And the book, you know, it was about really going from the dark side where I didn't have any hope. I thought it was all there was. We would never have money. Now he's my ex. Oops. Spoiler alert. He's my ex, but he liked to borrow money and I didn't. It just didn't work for me. And I finally got to the point where I said, you know what? He shouldn't have to change, right? I've been waiting to be happy for him to change. He doesn't have to change, but I don't have to do this anymore. And that gave me a lot of freedom. You know, he hired coaches to help me so I would change my mind. And, you know, we had a contract, which is in the book, and, you know,
So,
he did keep it.
you
So,
know, so in terms of leadership training, which is what the Trueness Project does, no one is responsible for our personal happiness except us. But
right,
we're not taught that, and you taught yourself that.
right. Yeah, it was a big moment when I realized, you know, A, I've been waiting for him to change. B, he's not and probably won't. And C, why should he? He
So
shouldn't
you
have to
stopped,
change.
so it wasn't a blame game anymore. You weren't a
Right,
victim. You
right.
you refused to be a victim and you moved
Yeah,
on.
yeah. I stopped being a victim and, you know, it was a process. And I started taking ground. I did a triathlon.
I always get a kick out
Oh,
of that. You know, it's
I,
like because the swimming part throws me off at the triathlon. So what was that like? What was it
it was a
like
mini. It was
training
a,
for the triathlon? Did your babes come in and help? I mean, what was that like? Because
oh
that's
yeah,
huge.
no, the babes were back. The babes had scattered by that point. You know, this was probably, I don't know how many years later, but so it was a dream. It was a mini, I have to say. It wasn't a full, but I trained, I did the swimming. I was a good swimmer, so that was the easy part. The bike I had to get from somebody and it broke during the thing, but I still finished. And then the running should have been easy, except I never put all three parts together. I could do double each it just never occurred to me. If I had done another one, I would have known. But I never thought to swim, bike, and run on the same day. So, so it was tough, but I did finish it. And I had a ghost runner in to it's in the book. It was really a great moment. I have to say, it was a big accomplishment. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, anytime anybody says triathlon, I mean, that's just huge. To have the discipline to train for that and to actually get through it, that's phenomenal. Phenomenal. So what did that experience lead to? Because
Well,
so this book is an excellent book. And if it took her 7 years to get it out, okay? So this is the funny part. So I used to take years to do anything. I was so meticulous. I was so like it just had to be right.
mm,
And the difference between where I am now and where I was then, now I just do it, right? And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. People can laugh at me and I'm okay with that, but I wasn't okay with that earlier on.
mm, mhm.
That's a long time to wait to publish a book. So, so what did publishing that book lead to?
Well, there was something that happened. So you had said you had asked me before which came first, the book or the show, podcast show. I was it was in I think it was in 2019 before the book was published, but I was in a course and I was always trying to fix myself because I felt like, my mother's very positive, she's perky and peppy, and I have a side of me that's it's a glass half empty. That's just my natural way of looking at things. And so I was always trying to fix that. And the question was, if you weren't trying to fix yourself and you were whole and complete, what would you do with your time? And the thing that popped into my brain was I'd be an inspiring storyteller. Okay, that's fun. I mean, I don't know where that came from, but it came out. And
That's
then,
fantastic.
yeah, and then the next question was, what would you have to put at risk? And the answer was my real self. My real self, because I was a people-pleasing, pleasant phony. That's what I call myself. I was always fine. I'll be nice. You walk away, I'll be like that Teresa. You know what I mean? Did you see what she had on her head or whatever? Like I wasn't. I pretended to be nice. I really wasn't that nice. I mean, I wasn't terrible, but I wasn't the Pollyanna that I pretended. I didn't speak up, and that's my second book, and so
Oh,
it was
talk
like,
about the second
okay.
book. Talk about the second book.
Well, first, what was born that day was Getting Real with Hillary. I got home, my daughter said, "Why don't you start a YouTube channel?" I'm like, "What's that?" So I started posting videos of being real. And I was terrified because it felt so vulnerable, after all those years of pretending, it was like, ooh, can I really say what I really feel? And so that's how that started. The Getting Real with Hillary was a big moment, and that was in 2019. That was actually before the book was published. I still didn't have a cover. I didn't know how to do, I had to learn all that. And that was really like my commitment is that we're all free to create lives we love. And being my fake self was not freeing, and it wasn't a life I loved. So the more real, the more free.
That's
So
beautiful. That's the whole point of my nonprofit.
yeah.
No, because I get you, because I was living somebody else's life. Always, until I said, okay, I can't do this anymore. And so what you're saying is really freeing and beautiful. We really have to learn how to live in authenticity because that is the only, the planet keeps saying, we need peace. Well, we're not going to do it negotiating with anybody. We need to find peace within ourselves. And that's how we're going to get world peace. And that's what the butterfly event is all about, people. Yes, I'm bringing you back to the butterfly event. And notice that Hillary is all in.
I have more. I could
Oh,
put more
no.
in. Here we go.
Oh,
There we
that
go.
looks fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. Okay, so now you're being authentic and raw on the YouTube channel. I can so relate to this. I know that there are so many people relating to this because I still do things to people please. And I am, when I do that, I get really upset and I'm like, haven't I changed this? And the truth is, you have to keep working on something until you stop, until it's like automatic. But I mean, we all want to make other people happy. We just have to figure out we can't make other people happy and really go against our own value system, and what we really want.
Well, we can and we do, but it's not freeing. I still say yes, like I was saying yes to things, and I was like, I don't want to do that. Why am I saying yes? And now how do I get out of it? Do you know what I mean? It's like I still wonder, why am I saying yes when it's not what I want? I don't want to get people upset. I don't think I could say no. I don't think it ever goes away, but I think we can get aware of it quicker. I
Yeah.
can be aware of it now, whereas before it was
The more of this work we do, the better we are at it. It's just
Yeah.
difficult to get to the next level.
Yeah.
And we're going to learn about Hillary's next level with all of her butterflies that are when we come back for our commercial break.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Waite and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Waite is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewaite.com or call her at 951-378-5316, 951-378-5316.
I'm Glenn Morshower. My face may look familiar to you from lots and lots of TV and film over the last 50 years. We're doing speaker training together and we're excited about helping you. We've got a lot of fundamentals that we will cover, including the art of playfulness, knowing who you are, remembering tonality, posture, all of these things that are life-changing. They are significant not only in your professional world, but in your personal life as well. We look forward to working with you in the near future.
In Karate Legacy and the Power Within, we don't just teach karate techniques, we share the inspiring stories of incredible martial artists. Latino Gonzalez, the father of karate, paved the way for martial arts in the Philippines. His legacy lives on through his sons, Rolando and Roberto Gonzalez, who starred in over 100 Philippine karate movies, captivating audiences and bringing karate to the silver screen. Then we have Patricia Gonzalez, a symbol of strength and resilience. After overcoming her own battles, Patricia's journey embodies the spirit of perseverance. Her story encourages us to face our challenges head-on and emerge victorious. Each character in this book has a unique journey, friends and students who have dedicated their lives to mastering the art of karate. Their shared passion not only deepens their bond, but also strengthens their resolve to uplift one another. Through these compelling stories, Karate Legacy and the Power Within reveals the essence of karate: courage, unity, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Join us in celebrating these extraordinary individuals and discover the strength that lies within you. Grab your copy of Karate Legacy and the Power Within, available now on Amazon.
Welcome back to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. I am your host, M. Teresa Lawrence. And when we left off, our guest, Hillary Burns, was telling us how she had stopped being a people pleaser. Haven't we all? We've all been there. And had started her YouTube channel, which is quite good. And she started posting episodes about being her true, authentic self. And with that, Hillary, welcome back. And let's keep going with the story of what happened next and how your journey progressed.
Okay, so just let me take you back 1 second. So after I had given this before, after I'd written it and I gave it to someone to read, she said, why weren't you responsible for your life? Why didn't you speak up? And I was like, well, first of all, I was pissed. I was like, you're supposed to be helping me, not criticizing me. But anyway, we worked that out. And I looked and I said, why didn't I speak up? And I started looking at that. And It was part of the people pleasing, you know? So anyway, I rewrote some of the book and I put some stuff in about why and, you know, all that. And then one day after that, I ended up getting divorced. You know, I realized I couldn't change him. I got divorced but he would still call me his wife for like a while. He would refer to me as his wife. And it used to make me so mad. And so finally I told someone and they're like, "Well, why don't you tell him?" And I was like, "Tell him? Like, I don't know. I never thought to
People
tell him."
pleasing.
Yeah, I never thought to tell him. And what if he got mad? And you know, we were divorced, but we still had the kids, and that's the whole thing. So anyway, one day I said, "Look, I want to tell you something," and I was crying. I'm like, "I don't know how to tell you." And he's like, "What?" I said, "Please don't call me your wife. I'm not your wife." And he was like, "Oh, okay." Now, meanwhile, sometimes he still does, you know, 7 years later, but whatever. I'm over it. But the point was, once I said it, I felt so free. And for him it was no big deal. For me it had been like the end of the world. But for him it was nothing. And so anyway, my second book is called Real Talk. And this is how to say the things you've never said so you can have the things you've always wanted. And there's a process in it. It's called the Getting Real process, which is, you know, for some reason, I mean, still, it happened the other day. I wanted to tell this doctor how upset I was with something his receptionist had said. I just left the practice. And then when it was time to come back, I was like, gosh, I said, you know, all right, I have to tell you something. And I was crying. And he was like, thank you for being honest. Like it wasn't no big deal to him. But for some reason, you know, I think it comes from, you know, when it's kind of the thread through all the books that I didn't think I should feel that way. I didn't think that my feelings were like I should be over this. It's not a big deal. Like I would try to talk myself out of my feelings and it just doesn't work, you know, but to
So,
acknowledge them and say, "Hey, yeah, I was disappointed." You know,
yeah, so have you found that when you process your feelings like that, you just let them out, they leave.
that's
Like,
gone. Gone, free. Yeah.
and I love this story with your husband. You were like getting really pissed off, and then you said, "Please don't call me your wife." And he was like, "Okay." And
Yeah.
you probably thought to yourself, "Why didn't I tell him that the first day?" You know?
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so it's not even at a conscious level. Do you know what I mean? But that's why, you know, I wrote this and I have this whole process and I can help people with it if there's things you're afraid to say. And I think a lot of times when we're unhappy, it's because we're not speaking up. And there's a way to do it that works where you can be responsible instead of blaming them. Like there's definitely ways that don't work. I'm an expert, but there are ways that can work, and that's what I can work with people on because I've done it the wrong way. So I can have them learn from my experiences. Yeah.
So
Ready for
I've
the
found
third?
that, I've made so many mistakes that I can really help people avoid them if they so choose.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so what you were saying is pretty much the same. You've gone through enough experiences where you haven't shared your voice in your true feelings that, you can walk people through it, and that's beautiful.
Yes.
So your
Yes.
bio says you've written 3 books.
Dun, 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 dun. So here's my third. Your bullshit is your
Bullshit is
blessing.
the best.
So this one, so when I was stuck all those years and before I would speak up, I would call it the left side of life. You can call it the dark side, you can call it whatever you want, but it was where something was wrong with me, something was wrong with the world, you know, and there it was just like that sigh, you know, like there was nothing, no hope. Now, there's a right side that's really fun. You know, you get to play with people like M. Teresa and you get to create butterfly things and everything's possible. So I was like, well, what if I could spend more time over there? You know, so I got a little nerdy, but I love learning about ways of creating freedom. You know, like, and so I've learned so many things. I've taken so many courses. I'm always, not always open, but a lot of times open. And so I decided to put all these tools and techniques in a book. And this subtitle is How to Stop Fixing Yourself and Start Having Fun. So I stopped trying to make myself less negative, and I just started using that as a way of telling stories that people could relate to so that if they find themselves there trying to fix themselves, you know, they can let it go. And, you know, we even have a game about complaining and, you know, like you can have fun with it instead of, you know, I was always like I was doing just on Monday, trying to talk myself out of my feelings instead of just going, oh, you know what? I'm kind of pissed off. Wow, I would never have said that, ever.
So yesterday, now that you have your game about complaining, yesterday I spoke with a fabulous woman named Pamela Igwe, and she taught us tapping. You know, the EFT.
Yeah,
Have you ever done that? And so
yeah,
the first round was all negative.
yeah, yeah. And it's good to let it out. And I think we shouldn't have it. I always thought I needed to be positive, you know? Why? Or
Mhm.
strong. You know, my mom collapsed and went to the hospital. I thought I had to be strong. Being strong is so stressful. You know, like I was blowing up because I was sad. I was sad. No,
Mhm.
she's okay. You know, they don't know why she fell, but instead of like, who said we had to be strong? I mean,
Mhm.
like all these rules that we think are real rules in the universe, they're not real. They just torture us, you know?
So can you share just a few more exercises from the book? Because there's a whole negativity thing, like
Let's see. Let me look. I've forgotten. Um, well, one of them is saying what can't be said, which ties into this. And it's really like, well, I could never tell him that. It's like, why not? Do you know what I mean? Like we have rules of what we can and can't say, and they're just not true. And when we can say it anyway, there's so much freedom. Yeah,
So I just
that's
have to share with you. So my dad has Asperger's syndrome. I think that's what it's called. Um,
wow.
but and I'm saying that because he doesn't have a problem just saying
But
directly what he is thinking. There
yeah,
is no emotion attached to it or a how will this make that person feel? And there's a lot of people pleasing that goes into worrying about what sort of reaction you're going to get from the other person if you tell them the truth.
hmm,
And it's just, you know, I've always had a difficult time with my dad's brutal honesty, right? Because it's brutal beyond
yeah.
any normal
Mean,
setting, right?
mean. It's mean.
Yes. But it's clear, it's direct.
Well, you know what?
And my feelings are my feelings. Like he's
Right.
saying something, and my reaction is mine. And so it took me a long time to simply not react and say, okay, that's what he's going through right now. And that's part of the process is figuring out that we're not responsible for the way other people react to us. That's their issue.
Right. And if it, if I say you did this, that's not being responsible. But if I say, hey, I'm feeling a little bit, you know, bad right now. No one can argue with that. And I'm not hurting you. I'm just saying how I feel. So that there's a way of doing it, and it's taken a while. Do you know what I mean? But there's a way of communicating. Or one of the I don't know if we're running out of time, but one
No, we're
of the
not.
big things is called check it out. So let's
Huh.
say you said, "Oh, Hillary, I gotta go." I'd be like, "Did I do something wrong?" So one of the things I can do is call you or text you or whoever we're communicating and say, "Hey, did I do something wrong? Why did you have to leave all of a sudden?" Oh, well, I had to go to the bathroom. Like once I've checked it out with people, this is probably the most useful thing. It has never, ever been what I made up because I always think I did something wrong, whatever, it's the blame thing. But never has it ever been what I thought. And I could actually not be friends with you anymore because of something I made up that has nothing to do with reality. So by checking it out and you go, oh no, 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 I had to run to the bathroom or my phone was ringing, I'd say, oh, okay, good. Whew, I thought I did something wrong. And then it's gone. It's
Okay, so I
really
have a
cool.
serious question with you. What if you
Uh-oh.
can't check it out?
With them.
Yes, what if you have caused a reaction that you never thought you would have caused? And then the person says, we are done.
Oh, well, that's like the opposite. They're the one that needs to check it out, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
I
you
think
could say, what did you think I meant? But you know what I mean? Like, what did you think I said?
no, I tried all of those. So I'm
Oh,
just pointing this out because the more I progress on this journey of authenticity and being myself, the more sometimes I come up with interesting experiences like that. And and I check in, I'm like, okay, if I've done something that has offended you, I'm going to correct it if I feel I've honestly done something wrong. But when I'm met with a person that is unwilling to investigate,
Yeah.
right, then I have to honor myself enough to not follow through with that.
And let them go.
Yes.
Some
And with
people,
that fabulous moment, it's time for another commercial break.
Looking to attract your target market without soliciting or doing the cold calling? Call Marie Waite and book your consultation. Branding gives you the power to create a unique and classy perception of your business for your target audience. A marketing plan without the right branding will always cost more, take longer, and tend to deliver subpar results compared to a well-branded business. Marie Waite is a branding strategist who formulates effective marketing and media programs to promote your business in building your name, brand, and legacy. Marie has over 10 years of experience and a proven record of creating strong brand content for business owners, entrepreneurs, and companies using her creative ideas, recommendations, and innovative programs. Book now at mariewaite.com or call her at 951-378-5316. 951-378-5316.
So there's work to be done. There's things to be experienced. There's connection to be had. There's feelings to be shared. There's people to be listened to. Things to be valued. The world needs a witness. It needs a witness.
There's a better way to solve the problem, but I realized that God had a greater cause for me, a humanitarian cause, and that's the part of my life that I'm in today versus where I was then after going through all of this.
And the truth is, we have it in us to do anything that we imagine. We just have to have the courage to step into our greatness.
From a different perspective or from a different context, a whole different set of options shows up. It's outside your comfort zone and all that, but when you see a vision, when you see something's possible, you want to go for it.
It's interesting, people talk about discipline and how much discipline it takes to live a life of intentionality, and certainly that's true. It does take discipline. I really want you to compare the cost of discipline versus the cost of regret.
If you're involved, you'll learn a lot, first of all. Okay, being in this group, you do learn quite a bit. And not just from people like me, but other people out there that have something to offer.
The conversations that impact your life, that change your perspective, those are the things that build trust. And those connections and the frequency of that. The more conversations you have with somebody, the more value that they bring to you, the more trust that you'll have in them.
Maybe I have to go meet some people that know things that I don't know. Join a real estate investor association, start going to some of the meetings, make those connections. To learn a little bit, just to help my knowledge base to be more comfortable with it. Whatever it is, what do you need to do to prepare?
And I encourage you, if you don't have a will, you haven't done a will, for whatever you have, and you may have a bunch, you may have a little bit, but write out the will. Write down where you want things to go to.
So now when I'm selling them this house or this car or myself or a jacket or my business or my client, whatever it is you're selling, that's how they buy. That's their buying modality.
Because understanding your business and how you want to grow it and scale it is truly about building relationships. That is the key to what I would recommend in this realm.
If you absorb that in your mind, like in karate, put it in your mind, put it in your heart, you will reach all your success and dream. You will ignite it within your heart. Put it in your heart and do it in action.
I'm on fire about that. And it's interesting that when you're on fire, what on fireness comes from is crystal clarity. When you get crystal clear, you enter a space of zero doubt.
In Karate Legacy and the Power Within, we don't just teach karate techniques, we share the inspiring stories of incredible martial artists. Latino Gonzalez, the father of karate, paved the way for martial arts in the Philippines. His legacy lives on through his sons, Rolando and Roberto Gonzalez, who starred in over 100 Philippine karate movies, captivating audiences and bringing karate to the silver screen. Then we have Patricia Gonzalez, a symbol of strength and resilience. After overcoming her own battles, Patricia's journey embodies the spirit of perseverance. Her story encourages us to face our challenges head-on and emerge victorious. Each character in this book has a unique journey, friends and students who have dedicated their lives to mastering the art of karate. Their shared passion not only deepens their bond, but also strengthens their resolve to uplift one another. Through these compelling stories, Karate Legacy and the Power Within reveals the essence of karate: courage, unity, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Join us in celebrating these extraordinary individuals and discover the strength that lies within you. Grab your copy of Karate Legacy and the Power Within, available now on Amazon.
Welcome back to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show. I am your host, Teresa Lawrence, and we are back with Hillary Burns, who is going to share with us all that there is to know about Getting Real with Hillary, her podcast and her YouTube channel, and how we can connect with her, get on the show, and get some coaching from her. So Hillary, please share.
Okay, so my journey continued with Getting Real, and I was doing the YouTubes, and then I created some courses, and I don't know, my daughter was like, if you do 4 TikToks a day, something will happen. And so I was like, how do you do that? So anyway, I started doing that. I've been doing 4 TikToks a day for over 800 days in a row. It's called Getting Real with High because there weren't enough digits for the whole Hillary. And I have the best time doing them because, again, I get to be real. I mean, really authentic. If I wake up upset, I record some TikToks and I get free. So it's all about creating freedom. So I have that. And then, I'd always wanted to have a show where I got to listen to people's stories. I love hearing people's stories. So when one of my friends said, she was starting a podcasting course the next day. This was on a Sunday. She was starting on Monday. And I was like, can I do it? So I jumped into her course. I started, it was called True Voice Podcasting at the time. I don't even know if he still does it. And we started learning how to do a podcast. So we did that. And then I met this other gentleman who I started working with after the course ended, and we turned it into video too. So then it became like I had to buy cameras and all sorts of stuff. Again, each step was a learning curve. And, normally I would be stopped by, I don't know how, but I actually reached out for help. I got all ready, started recording with the camera and everything. And, it's just been a journey. I have now 156 episodes of this show. People come on and they tell their stories and they're just fascinating. Some people are authors, they write books. I always read the books. I love to read. And that's a real thrill to be able to ask authors questions about their books. I mean, who gets to do that? Maybe that's nerdy, but I absolutely love it.
No,
I
that's
love
fun.
it.
It's very obvious that you love what you do. So how
Yeah.
would somebody connect with you to get on the podcast? Because it's a beautiful opportunity. I mean, especially, authors or people that have events. Like I got on her show because of the butterfly event, and look what happened. Look at her.
And look at me now. A year later, right? We're still
Yes.
writing. So yeah, so you could send me an email at Hillary, that's one L, HILARY at gettingrealwithhillary.com, and just say, I want to be on your show. I'll send you a discovery link and we'll have a chat and see if it's a fit. Or, if you resonated with some of the stuff I was saying before, like you're stuck or you're afraid to speak up, or, you don't know how to move forward. Like, I'm also a nerd for planning. I love to help people plan. I love to help people find their purpose and passion. I actually have a little course on my website about that, and really finding out, like Teresa and I were both in jobs that really weren't our passion. And I worked with a gentleman who helped me figure out what it was that made me happy. And I love doing that for other people because it really is who you are. It's your special gifts. And they might be a little buried, but we can uncover them together. So you can reach out through that email. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can DM me. I don't even know what is that? Direct message. I
Direct
don't know what
message.
it's called. But yeah, you can reach out in any way, and then, we can connect. I also have a link for a free course. It's one of the ones
And
about
we're sharing that on her bio link so that you can all get that free gift. But I just think it's fun, just in general, people are so much more fun when they're authentic and happy, because it's so funny. I invite people to the butterfly event all the time, and then they're like, I don't dress like a butterfly, right? And one man said he was a curmudgeon, and I said, well, listen, curmudgeon, I need some caterpillars.
That's great. Yeah.
But grumpy people just aren't being true to themselves. Like there's a reason we have all sorts of angry people in this world, and that they're not enjoying who they are,
Right. And one of the things I've learned through all my many courses is that our birthright is joy. Our birthright is
Isn't that beautiful?
living our purpose and passion. It's not to be right and to be angry and to try to, like, instead of the win-lose world, I think our birthright is a win-win. How do we all win? How do we all create together? And, like you, one of my also commitments is that we all elevate the conversation and consciousness of the planet together. And that's what I feel like I'm doing with my show is I'm putting out inspirational, happy, some stories are tragic, but these people have conquered adversity. And some of it is you can't believe what they've been through. And so I figure, you know what, if other people hear their stories, they will maybe have some more hope that they can do it too. I mean, tragedies, death of children, paralysis, terminal cancer, all sorts of stuff. But these people they've made it. They made it through these diagnoses,
That's the beauty
anyway.
of podcasting. You get to really, learn about people's stories, and
Yeah.
we all uplift each other by sharing our stories. So I want to share again Hillary's website. Please share your website so that they all
Oh.
know.
Well, you know what? I think it's better if they go to YouTube. I do have a
Okay.
website, but it's kind of a little
Okay, so
funky right now.
share your YouTube again.
Yeah, YouTube, and then Getting Real with Hillary with 1L. And there's lots of different shows, there's lots of different videos, and all the links are up on the top. So you can find anything else there. You can subscribe to my weekly newsletter. Forgot about that. It's free. Every week you get inspiring stories. Well, you get real stories of what I'm going through, plus all the links for everything that's coming out. So it's chock full.
Well,
Good
thank you so much for joining us, Hillary. I just want to share with the audience that yes, there's still time to join the Grand Butterfly Gathering. And you can go to butterflymarch.com to either join us in person in Jackson, Wyoming, or virtually anywhere in the world. Hillary will be fluttering in Connecticut. I know she will.
Yes, I will.
So thank you again for joining us, and for all of our listeners. Hillary is just so much fun. When she interviewed me, we ended up, fluttering together for last year's event. So thank you so much for joining us. God bless, and everybody, peace out.
Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.